They don't cry out. They don't lash out. They don't even ask for help. Instead, they quietly sabotage everything good in their lives over and over again. Wounded people don't wear scars on their sleeves. They hide them in their choices, in the way they push away love, in the way they avoid peace, in the way they run from healing every time it comes close. The most dangerous wounds are the ones that never bleed, the ones that sit beneath the surface like time bombs, eroding confidence, relationships, and hope from the inside out. This is the shocking pattern no one talks about, the secret world of self-punishment that plays out in silence. You might see someone who's always helping others, always smiling, always saying, "I'm fine." But look closer, and you'll see the truth. They overwork themselves into exhaustion, not because they're ambitious, but because they believe rest is a luxury they don't deserve. They stay in toxic relationships, not because they're blind, but because they believe pain is what they're meant for. They abandon their own dreams, not because they're lazy, but because some part of them is convinced that joy is not for people like them. Wounded people don't hate the world. They hate themselves. And that hatred doesn't look like drama. It looks like subtle daily destruction. They'll cancel plans that would have made them happy. They'll avoid opportunities that would have brought growth. They'll replay their past mistakes until those mistakes become their identity. This is not just low self-esteem. This is a belief deeply rooted that they deserve to suffer, that they must suffer. Because somewhere in their life they were taught directly or indirectly that pain is their punishment, that love must be earned, that happiness must be borrowed, that anything good will eventually be taken away. And so they beat life to the punch. They ruin things before life has a chance to ruin them. They ghost people before they can be abandoned. They procrastinate until the opportunity disappears. They downplay their talents until no one notices them. This is not laziness or weakness. This is survival. This is the mind's twisted way of saying, if I'm already suffering, nothing worse can happen to me. It's control through self-destruction. Some wounds are loud, but others are strategic and they lie. They whisper, "Don't get too close to happiness. You don't belong there." And the tragic part, most people never question it. They just live under that belief year after year, until they become the architect of their own misery. They date people who hurt them. They settle for jobs that drain them. They mock their own potential before anyone else can. They pretend to be small, just to avoid the risk of disappointment. They are afraid not of failure, but of hope. Because hope means vulnerability. And when you've been wounded, vulnerability feels like walking into enemy territory without armor. This cycle of self-punishment isn't just emotional, it becomes physical. Insomnia, stress, eating, chronic fatigue, anxiety disorders, they all begin to creep in. And still wounded people tell themselves, "It's fine, I just need to be stronger." But strength isn't what they lack. What they lack is permission. Permission to forgive themselves. Permission to move on. Permission to believe that healing is not betrayal. It's survival. It's not forgetting what happened. It's refusing to let it define who you become. And yet when you ask these people why they keep hurting themselves, emotionally, physically, spiritually, they'll say, "I don't know." Because the pattern has become subconscious. It's the air they breathe, the prison they call home. But if you dig deeper, you'll find that the original wound often came from someone else. A parent who made them feel like a burden. A partner who manipulated their love. A friend who betrayed their trust. A society that made them feel less than human. Somewhere along the way, they internalized the lie that they are broken beyond repair. And from that lie, every act of self-sabotage began to grow. But here's the truth. Wounded doesn't mean worthless. Broken doesn't mean beyond saving. And the pain you carry is not proof that you deserve to suffer. It's proof that you survived something that should have destroyed you. The patterns you've built were once your protection, but now they've become your prison. And if you're reading this, maybe you're ready to walk out of that prison. Not by force, not by shame, but by slowly, quietly, gently realizing that you are allowed to live a life that doesn't hurt. That joy isn't a betrayal. That peace isn't a lie. That you don't have to keep punishing yourself just because someone else made you feel unworthy. This is where healing begins, not with a dramatic moment, but with a quiet decision. I don't want to live like this anymore. That's the first rebellion. That's the beginning of freedom. The most haunting prison is the one you build with your own hands, and then forget you hold the key. That's the truth about self-punishment. It's so subtle, so embedded in your habits, that it begins to feel like personality. You start to believe this is just who you are, someone who ruins good things, someone who can't get close, someone who always ends up back at square one. But here's the truth. No one tells you these patterns were learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. To break this cycle, you have to first recognize it. Awareness isn't just the first step, it's the lifeline. You have to catch yourself in the act. Notice when you're turning down joy. Notice when you're resisting rest even when you're exhausted. Notice when you feel uneasy during peace because chaos has become more comfortable. These aren't random quirks. They're emotional flashbacks, they're trauma responses disguised as preferences. And until you call them out, they'll keep controlling you from the shadows. Wounded people often become perfectionists. Not because they love perfection, but because they fear judgment. If everything is perfect, no one can reject them. No one can criticize what doesn't exist. So they procrastinate, they avoid, they play small. And when nothing gets done, they turn that into more self-punishment. I'm a failure. I'm lazy. I don't deserve success. But this isn't laziness. It's protection. It's the mind shielding you from future pain by avoiding future exposure. The cure. Imperfect action. Not success, not praise. Just the willingness to move despite the fear of being seen. And then there's the emotional numbing. Wounded people don't always cry. Sometimes they just shut down. They become the stoic friend, the reliable partner, the calm coworker. But inside, they're starving. Starving for connection. For relief. For someone to say, you don't have to carry this alone. But they've convinced themselves that needing others is weakness. That vulnerability is a risk they can't afford. So they armor up. Every smile becomes a mask. Every joke becomes a distraction. And the more they appear, okay, the deeper the wound grows. But healing is not about pretending the wound never existed. It's about cleaning it out slowly, painfully, honestly. It's about rewriting the scripts that were programmed into you. The ones that said you only have value if you're useful, or you're hard to love, or good things never last, so don't get attached. These scripts are not truths. They are echoes, leftover noise from someone else's damage. And if you listen closely, you can begin to replace them. Healing requires discomfort. Not the kind you're used to. The pain of self-sabotage, but a new kind. The discomfort of allowing joy. The discomfort of saying no when your old self would have said yes out of guilt. The discomfort of resting without explaining yourself. The discomfort of being loved without trying to earn it. It's terrifying, but it's necessary. The moment you say, I deserve peace, everything begins to change. That one sentence can be more powerful than years of silent suffering. Because now you're no longer fighting against yourself. You're standing with yourself. That shift from self-criticism to self-compassion is where the healing begins. It's not a straight path. You will relapse. You will return to old patterns. You'll sabotage a little less, then a little more. But each time, if you choose kindness over punishment, you'll rewire your inner world. You'll stop abandoning yourself every time life gets hard. And that more than any therapy or strategy is what truly transforms a person. And here's something no one tells you. You don't need to be fully healed to live a beautiful life. You don't have to wait until the pain is completely gone to be worthy of love, peace, or purpose. You can carry your wounds and still choose better. You can still build, still create, still love. Healing is not about becoming a new person. It's about finally allowing yourself to be the person you were before. The world taught you to hate yourself. Because the shocking truth isn't that wounded people self-destruct. It's that despite it all, they survive. And if you're listening to this right now, that means you've survived. All the damage, all the silence, all the nights where you hated yourself just for existing. You're still here, still breathing, still fighting. And that means there's still time to turn it around. So, no, your pain does not define you. Your pattern is not permanent. Your story isn't over. The self you've been punishing, they're still in there. And they're waiting for you to stop the war. waiting for you to finally say, I forgive you. You've suffered enough. That moment is where everything begins. If this message resonated with you, it's not an accident. There's a reason you stayed to the end. There's something in you that knows it's time to heal. So don't let this moment pass. Subscribe for more content that dives deep, because healing isn't just a destination, it's a decision you make every day. And you don't have to walk that path alone. Your healing starts now. Welcome back to yourself.